So a while ago I managed to get hold of one of the UMX Cessna 182, and I know this one is discontinued, so you cannot actually purchase this one unless you find stock somewhere in a hobby store or something. And to me at least, I think you owe to yourself to someday fly a kind of Cessna, and I'm very fond of this UMX series because they are in great size to fly in smaller places. And this one features a lot of things, like it's a fully 4-channel aircraft. It does have safe technology. It does have a brushless motor, and steerable nose wheel. And it's a nice looker in the sky. It flies good. But there is actually one thing missing on this one. Actually two things, but one thing in particular, and that's LED lighting. So I managed to put LED lighting on this one, and what I did was, I thought about it. This kind of pen is quite a lightweight, and I don't want to weight it down with too much. And then I found, a light LED set that's like a spare part for the UMX Timber airplane, and so I got one. And this receiver flight controller board inside does actually have 2 spare connectors. So I guess these are for flaps, I suppose. So I could take this LED kit that is for the Timber, UMX Timber, and just plug it into one of the free connectors on the flight controller board, and everything works. So what I've done is actually as you can see under each wing, you can see that on the edge there's it's a really tiny LED strip with, this is the right wing, so this is green, and there's also a flashing one. And the same thing on the other side. And as this one is for the Timber, the Timber has, positioning lights for the wings and flashing lights for the wings. And it does have, these beacons, which I've put on one on top. So there's a red beacon on top, and there's also a red beacon on the bottom here, so they slowly flash. And the Timber does use 2 constant lighting LED that goes into the nose to have like a nose landing light. But I didn't want to do this with this one, so on the original Cessna there is a landing light, which is usually on one of the wings to this side. But I decided I have 2, so I made places for 2 lights. So this one actually have the wing positioning lights, the beacon to the top and on the bottom of the airplane, and also 2 landing lights in the front, which I've done this on a couple of other airplanes. I think it's a nice feature, and I think this one really looks much better with these LED lights, and it's so simple. I mean, the kit for the Timber, and I suppose you can use other kits as well. It must plug and play, just put it in, and I just have to extend one of these cables, because as they are supposed to go like in the nose of the Timber to have a nose light, I have to extend one of them, but other than that the cables just fitted right away. So I think we'll better just go out and fly this one then. So I'm out in this rather cold and windy fall day. It's December and still no snow. So I will hand launch my UMX Cessna 182. Oh, it's really windy today, so I have to fight the wind. And all the UMX airplanes, they are so small, so I would prefer to have less wind, but I was eager to show the LED installation, and I want to fly, so I brought a few batteries with me. really feel the wind is pushing this small airplane around, so I have to fight it a bit. I have the headwind coming from my left shoulder. And to me, the UMX Cessna 182, it's a nice airplane. Not as nice as the UMX Timber, and at least my Cessna does pitch up more than I like, and I tried to adjust do a bit of down elevator, but and especially when you have this strong wind, I think it does not fly as good as the Timber. But it does look nice with these LED lights. And on such a day when it's quite gloomy and this time of year it doesn't get bright if there's no sun outside. So the LED does help to tell orientation. This is kind of a bumpy flight, really, because sometimes there are gusts that just pushes the Cessna and resist my command. So certain occasions I do have to fight the wind to get the plane to fly where I want to fly it. I have to say, I do enjoy to fly these small UMX airplanes because they are really controllable, and I don't have to have a large field to fly them at. They are light, so they're easy to actually catch the wind and to just head the wind and guide. So I went around this flag pole, not my usual flying behavior, but I just felt the wind. I couldn't really make a safe turn, so just made one turn around the flag post. What I'm trying to do here is just catch the wind nose right into the wind, and then fall off downwind and return. So I'm heading the wind and then going downwind. Cessna, to me at least, as a aircraft model type, I don't think it's the most exciting plane to fly, really. I mean, it does look scale, especially this one, which is actually licensed by Cessna to look like a real, more or less like a replica of a real Cessna. But there are other airplanes that are more fun to fly. Then again, I think it's just a good thing to have a few different airplanes that have a few different flying styles, so you're not just accustomed to just one airplane and one style flying. And this one really needs a calm day to make the best out of it. So in this flight I'm just fighting the wind and trying to not end up in a tree or crash. As you can see, there's no problem going slow with the Cessna. It's just, I think if you really make an effort to make good landings, I think you can make really nice landings, because it's a high wing plane, because the three wheels are close to the body. So I think I have maybe one more turn before I have to land. And this is rather tall grass, it's not cut for a long time, so I will just make some sort of soft landing, hopefully. Well, it's a nose down, but anyway, it survived.